Hey, are you a high achiever who struggles with perfectionism? Do you get stuck in the cycle of overthinking? Do you do everything for everyone else because you think otherwise it won't get done? Do you feel like you should come with a disclaimer? Hi, I'm anxious. Hey, I'm Katy. Full disclosure, I'm not a therapist, doctor, or mental health professional. I'm just a career mama who also struggles with anxiety. For me, anxiety reared its head at the most inconvenient times when I wanted to be present with my family, at those high pressure business meetings, when I was laying in bed awake at night worrying instead of sleeping. I just wanted to relax and be able to have fun, and I know that you do too. What if you found tools to manage your anxiety? What if you knew how to enjoy life even though you are anxious? Look, it's time to put down that third cup of coffee and swap it for some lemon water. We're going to get control over anxiety so it can stop controlling you. Let's go, girl. Oh, hello there, my friend. Welcome. I am so glad that you're joining me today, sweet anxious high achiever. I can't wait to talk with you about today's topic. So, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, I would encourage you to pause and go back and do that because I think that that would help set you up for what I want to teach you today. In last week's episode, I talked about how fear and anxiety keep you in contracting, shrinking anxiety, and just how you can start to notice that if it's something that you're not already aware of. And once you become aware and see where that's happening for you in your life, I want to help you with some ways that you can get out of that. So, what can you do to get into a more expansive frame of mind, expansive, expanding energy rather than that icky, contracting feeling that I think that as anxious high achievers we're so used to. And today I want to talk with you about three different ways that you can do this that are simple and that will help to start to get you on that path out of that shrinking energy, sweet anxious high achiever. So let's get into those. The first I want to talk about is physical expansion versus contraction. So you might notice you are somebody who, when you are anxious or fearful, start to contract literally physically. Maybe you're uncomfortable coming into a room because of what you need to do in there or who's present. And so you come in physically showing that contracting energy. Maybe your head is down, maybe your shoulders are slumped forward, maybe you kind of tiptoe quietly into the room so as to go unnoticed or with as little attention on you as possible. Or maybe you're somebody who clenches your jaw, your fists, your shoulders, your neck. Notice if this is something that you do when you are nervous, anxious, fearful, etc. And notice the contracting energy. And now, what I want to show you is that it doesn't take much for you to get out of it. So, I want you to think about ways that you can physically expand yourself to get away from that contraction energy. So, maybe you lift your chin up. Maybe your chin is level to the floor instead of pointing down, causing a narrow angle between your neck and your chin. Maybe your shoulders are back. Just roll them back. Maybe you stand up a little bit straighter or sit up straighter. Maybe you turn your palms outward and upward. And I want you to try this right now, wherever you are. Lift up your chin, sweet anxious high achiever. Roll your shoulders back. Stand up or sit up straight and open your palms upward. And see how that feels. Doesn't that feel expansive? And notice how that feels in your body. Does it feel good? I notice for me, kind of in my belly area, a light, fluttery feeling. It's about the size of a basketball, and it feels nice. It's a good feeling. It's a positive feeling, and I really like how it feels in my body. So think about how you could expand physically to move against that contracting, keep you small type of energy. Next, I want to talk about dreaming. And this one, sweet anxious high achiever, is something that, oh, I have struggled with mightily. I have struggled with this one. I think that as anxious high achievers, sometimes we get so focused on what has to be done, what needs to be done. We get focused on staying safe rather than expanding expanding into what is possible. So I want you to think about ways in your life that you could dream or think about what's possible for you. And one way that I've personally done this recently that was really hard at first, but the more that I've practiced it has become a little bit easier and feels really nice too. And it feels expansive. And that's meditating on my dream life. I have a guided meditation that I've been using that talks me through thinking about what my dream life might look like in as vivid and specific a detail as possible. Like, what does it look like to wake up at the ideal time for me? Where am I? Who am I with? What am I wearing? What am I eating? What am I drinking? What am I thinking about? And how does that feel for me? And when I go through this practice, I notice an expansion. And for me, where I typically notice that in my body is in my chest, actually. It kind of, you've heard that saying, your chest is exploding. I feel like my chest is exploding when I really am able to get into a space where I can dream of what is possible for me despite that anxiety and that fear that wants to keep me shrinking and small and safe and contracting. So think about in your life where you could be dreaming, and maybe it's about something specific. Maybe you want to dream about your business that you would like to start or that you have. Maybe you'd like to dream about what's possible for your family. Maybe you're not living the ideal life that you think that you want to or could. So you want to dream about what that could look like instead. And I would encourage you to set aside time every single day, ideally. But let's be realistic here. Maybe 3 times a week to spend some time dreaming about what is possible for you and what your ideal life might look like, and maybe get down to specific areas of your life, perhaps where you're noticing the most frustration or shrinking or contracting type of energy. And lastly, I want to talk about gratitude because we all know how important gratitude is in our lives, but I want you to notice how expressing gratitude can feel particularly expansive. I realized that I spent years of my life, and it sounds crazy to say it out loud, but this was a thing for me, guys, and I'm guessing it might be for some of you too, or might have been for some of you, where I told myself, why would anyone care to hear from me about something positive I might have to say about them? Maybe a compliment, maybe even a thank you. I know that sounds nuts, but I noticed in my anxious state, in my fear, in my contraction, I would tell myself, oh, they don't care to hear from me, or what if it comes across as condescending, or I don't want to waste their time with my breath and my words. And I have slowly come out of this. And I'll tell you, the difference in my life has just been almost inexplicable. The connections that I've made, the collaborations that have become possible, and just the overall positive feelings that I have had out of being willing to express my gratitude, especially aloud. It might be as simple as, gosh, thank you for helping me with XYZ project. I was really struggling with it. Your help and attention and time was noticed and very much appreciated, and I'm so glad that I get to work with you. Or maybe it's telling somebody something positive that you notice about them, like, hey, I notice that in high pressure situations, you seem to always be calm and level headed. And I so appreciate that about you. And I love being able to learn from that example that you set for me. So thank you for that. Doing things like this, I'll tell you what, have moved the needle for me so much that I would really encourage you to give this a try if it's not something that you do or that you do regularly, even if you feel you do it poorly. I have done that too. I thanked somebody for something the other day and it didn't come out in the way that I hoped that it might, and I ended up feeling very awkward. But the thing is, I said it. I told the person that I was thankful for them, and I was grateful for the help and assistance and attention that they had provided to me, and it still felt good. So, sweet anxious high achiever, I want you to notice the ways that fear and anxiety might be shrinking or contracting you. And then I want you to think of maybe one of these 3 ways that you could use to expand out of it, whether it's physically with your body, moving or holding it in a way that makes you feel expansive instead of contracting, dreaming, thinking about what's possible for you in your life, and thinking about how you could expand out of the spaces and places and stuckness that sometimes fear and anxiety can keep you, and also in expressing gratitude or appreciation for somebody or something, especially out loud and to them if you're able to do that. That, my friend, will certainly help to expand you. That's all I've got for you today, sweet high achiever. If you are not already a member of my free Facebook group, please come and join us. The link to join is in the show notes. It's an incredible community full of fantastic, wonderful, amazing, high achieving women just like you who'd love to encourage you, support you, and just have you present. I would love to see you there. Again, the link to join is in the show notes. I can't wait to talk with you next week, sweet, anxious high achiever. Now go find some ways that you can expand into the life that you actually want, sweet, anxious high achiever, because you deserve it and you're worth it. Hey friend, thanks for being here. Did today's episode help you feel more in control of your anxiety? Did it inspire you to rest or relax? Or maybe it challenged you to really look at why anxiety is a part of your life? If so, I'd love to hear from you. If you would take 30 seconds, pause this episode, scroll down in Apple Podcasts, and leave me a review, I would be so grateful. See you next week. Disclaimer, I am not a medical professional and this podcast is not providing therapy or medical treatment. Contents of the podcast are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider with your health questions and concerns.